What is up? This is, well, I could say it's a lot of things, but for all simplicity, for not overcomplicating it, this is, a podcast called Pancake Marathon. It's, I don't script these things. I really don't. Like, I just like, I'm gonna make a podcast today. Oh, I'm gonna do it right now. Because if I don't do it right now, I'm gonna probably well, I don't know, because I'm making the podcast right now. I don't really can't say what I could do when I'm not doing it. It's like saying I'm gonna quit, but I'm doing it right now. So I'm just really good at practicing how to speak, and I guess you can say be a hypocrite, right? At that point, in a simple way of saying, right? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Absolutely. And yet, simply to say, it's this is just my recovery, and some would say, oh, you cannot at all say other than how a 12-step recovery is supposed to be. You don't. It says practice the principles in all my affairs. It doesn't that just simply say that I'm here to apply what I've learned in my through, manifesting, you know, what is the now moment, basically? Just a really fancy way of saying the now moment, which is a really fancy way of saying, you know, uh, action, right? You hear it all the time in the movies. Action. And it's like, oh, the now moment. Oh, what's happening now? What's going on now? Right? Anywho's. Um, it just that's just something I think I want to talk about at this moment. Because this is just my recovery. I am the face of my recovery. I'm not the face of any 12-step recovery program or non-12-step recovery program. I'm just me. I've always been me. Through all the moments of just keep on putting the work in. As I like to quote it, in a sense of saying, from just the don't shut the door on the past, right? Nor do I wish to. There's a point. Because careful what you ask for. Absolutely. Because when you get it, ooh, you probably maybe not going to be happy if you ask for something without understanding and under the importance it's of itself. And simply to say, though, for real, simply to say that you, in of itself, have something to offer, right? I think the best, easiest, most comprehensive, most simplest, we can simply say, my intuition saying don't say it, so I'm gonna have to listen to it, because there's points where it's like I can do this, and it's like it's I don't have to, but I get to, and like there's points to where it's even like now I'm like, oh, now they're saying, oh, it's okay, go ahead and say it, to the simplest point, that's being of service right there. Leaving it better than I found it. To the simplest point of what it is that spirituality upon itself is probably recognizing the beauty around what and who and how and all of yourself upon itself. To simply say, like, that's what it's about. Recognizing that you're beautiful already. Like how it says in I think it pretty much says it in the solution part in the AA book, right? Or this is a solution, or there is a solution, to the simple fact of you had faith. You always had faith. You had faith, and you're gonna go and get that outside issue, and you're gonna fill that void in your heart space to just for a temporary moment of happiness, right? And so there's that the simplicity of itself of this is probably a simple program for complicated people, right? Like if you love, like, or adore, whatever it may be, whatever your level, of wording of how you find unity in yourself, right? And you're going to give it away freely in a place for healing, in like the original safe place, essentially to say, you know, of a fellowship, basically. Um, well, then you probably are ready to take certain steps. If you're entirely ready to be honest, and okay, if you're entirely earnest, honest, you know, it's about that, and it's always about carrying a message. That's always what it's about. It's like you know. Oh, and so going off the whole faith thing, you took that outside thing and you filled in the blank. You put the work in. That's how you cleaned your side of the street. That's how you kept your house in order. And how I like to phrase it is, zen your garden, right? Because if it's supposed to be a spiritual program, how is it then not zenning your garden, right? Anywho, I was attempting to like process out loud of if someone ever said no, that's not right. Why? And not even that, not even that. It's more like why isn't it more properly worded in spiritual aspects of what would then be a virtue, the sum of the word, and as in like a dictionary, right? You know, I never heard it. No, it's like I'm just like I said, I'm processing out loud. This is not scripted, by the way. I am just being me, because isn't that what recovery is about, right? Being you to practice the principles in all your affairs. I'm not capable, especially at moments when I'm not capable of being myself, leaving better than I found it. The real aspects of life, like that's not how it works. I can say it works like this all the time. I can say this is what I did for me, and is it might work for you, but I can call it really fancy words. But if you don't know how to think for yourself, and that's okay, it really is, because it happens, because how else am I supposed to let me hear myself to talk, right? To the simplest fact of the matter is, I could say that like, I'm spiritual, right? But then there's that dark side of spirituality, the shadow work, and it's like that just brings me to the simpler facts of what actually has all the answers, right? If I have the slogan of or mantra or whatever it may be of simply simultaneously one thing's happening at the same time. Simply simultaneously one thing is happening at the same time. And so, I used to say a lot that I don't think philosophy, theology, science, you know, those things, whatever field it is, nothing has the all the answers, right? You got to piece it together, and it's that's not that wasn't true at that moment, because it was my truth. That was how I held on to my peace of mind, right? That's how I seen, some quoting, the 12 step, 12 uh recovery message is a higher power. I'm coming to believe as my recovery message. It's simply to say that it's a peace of mind. Wouldn't that be really what we're asking for? And another way of saying it's sanity. It's serenity. It's a non-judgmental state out of this mental gymnastics of what is life. Me attempting to leave it better than I found it. It's we can say that the 12 steps are just a secret way, of an oversimplified aspect of spirituality, and in all actuality, it's just another way of saying that there's God, right? Because if you look in the etymology of agnostics, and I don't remember recall exactly how they worded it or broke it down or whatever it may be, is that it's without knowledge, basically. And another way of saying it's like you're asking questions. It's not that you're denying it. It's not like that you're arguing. You're just attempting to have a discussion and communication upon something that you can relate to in your aspect of everything, of not shutting the door on what you already know, right? It's about making progress and being conscious of it and being aware, right? And then you take the action upon itself, you know. Yet simply to say, I just really want to highlight that you're practicing the principles in all your affairs. I used to say, it's like the overcomplicated, in a sense of saying, because some need the sentence, some just need a word, and some need silence. Read the room. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just here to try to carry a message to those that are still suffering, right? You know, Considering, if you're sick, well, what does that really mean? Is that just, you know, the the medical field, right? Of them attempting to add a word to their dictionary and how to communicate from what is a philosophy standpoint, right? Like we all know what a fridge is, but if you needed to be taught what a fridge is, then you're gonna have to go ahead and have like a discussion and communication level of let's go ahead and describe a fridge in, we can just say it 50 words or however many words it is. You just simply know where it is and how it works, and in a simple basic setup, when somebody says put this in the fridge, like it's your first time there, but if you have, you know an ability to already comprehend these things, then wouldn't you just do it? Wouldn't you be like, I am an invalid, but I can talk and I can narrate my life, and so if you can tell me how you really, because this is my first time, you know how much time it would take to do things if everyone was like, I don't know, I need you to get off your high horse and help me out because I'm not getting off of mine and mine's better than yours. I'm not, no, 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 and hard pass. And maybe it's an easy pass because I am giving myself an easy pass and making you have a hard time with me passing. I don't know. Rarely do I ever say that I'm an addict or I'm, whatever. What's the other one? What's the other one? What do they say? What do they say? Alcoholic. I very rarely ever say those things. The only time that I say that without any, means of myself and absolutely attempting to carry a message so that I don't steal anybody else's spiritual awakening, basically, so that they can see fit on that there's unity in this, right? Is when I chair an online meeting. That's the only every time. Other than that, it's like I'm in a low state. I'm gonna say I'm an addict. If I'm in a low state, I'm gonna say that I'm, alcoholic, which I rarely ever. That's even rarer. Basically, I always say I'm an active part, right, of my recovery, right? There's so many points. There's so many points. Like when I go and chair a meeting, or just in act, like, for just keeping it simple, going and chairing a meeting. There are some that want to be there and then some that don't. Like this is an in-house meeting in a sense concept of like a sober living kind of a situation, or even if it's an H&I kind of interaction, right? Some probably don't want to be there, right? And per se, there for sure in the you want to go to an outside meeting, right? Oh, you probably want to be there. You probably have some kind of desire, more than not, an action within that desire to really want to do it. Yeah, sure. In an outside meeting, you don't have to not be using. You can actually be quite literally just used seconds before you got in. Right. You don't, that's, there's points. But it's also the simple fact of it's not about you glorifying, anything, right? It's all about the generalized aspect of how can we communicate together. Now that we're all, coming to agreements, right, of whatever it may be, like the simple fact of a fridge, right? We all agree that no matter how anyone, whatever level they're at, they can agree that a fridge works in this way, and you take action based around those criteria of what it is. Simply to say, it's simple as that, right? Once you get past the philosophy of it, the teaching aspect, you may need to be reminded because, oh, you didn't put this in the fridge. You already know that's going to get ruined and you left it out all night. Why? Why? Aspects are high. Like you might not comprehend the whole entire way to playing out the whole tape simply to say, yet. It's always about practicing. It's always about leaving it better than you found it. Because like this is another reason why I'm talking about this is because in the online meeting that I totally originally spaced on that I was supposed to chair. Now I have it in like my alarm area, not just my calendar, right? It's great to be organized, but if you don't go to the thing that's going to help you or even listen to the chime, because how often do I clear out all my notifications? I probably have like 50 notifications on my phone. I'm like, I'll get to it, I guess, or clear it out and then let it build back up because who has time to look at all the notifications when I don't really care to shut them off? I guess I don't know. Okay, so I think that's just like another whole next level of, oh my gosh, where was I going with that? Yeah, I don't really remember where I was going with that. Like that's not necessarily important. I guess at this moment because whoop, man, there it is. It's I don't know, the concept of just practicing the principles in all your affairs, right? It's that doesn't that really indicate your especially in the area where it says there's a solution, right, in the AA book, right? And like more down the chapter or whatever it is, it says you start where you're at, right? It doesn't say verbatim that, right? But it does say, start where you're at and then go from there. Or some start where they're at and then they go from there. It's all about that unity factor, right? If you are there to perfect it, then isn't that an aspect of non-humility per se? Per se. I'm just going off of the context of perfection, or I mean practicing, and that of of well, what is perfection at that point, right? And if it's perfect, then are you really need to perfect it, or do you need to keep it going through maintenance? I don't know everything, but what I do know is that, like it says in there is a solution. It's not that you didn't have faith. It's you had faith in something, and then it probably really really touches on that in we agnostics. It really does. As to yet, the aspect of life, living on life's terms. That's also something I want to highlight too. It's like back in the day, when this whole sponsoring and AA thing got started, they didn't have chips, right? They give applauses, they showed up, and then it morphed into you get chips now. Like one of the meetings that I chair, someone started the whole, oh, let's give some chips. Okay, well, we're only going to give in these whatever the basic amounts. We're not going to give every month or whatever, right? But the reason why I'm saying this is like I know for a fact when it's ridiculous in a sense of a consumer approach to I'm gonna donate and I'm gonna get a blanket. Or at least that's how I can define it in my head of whatever it may be and whatever ways it approached and all that. But the point being is that are you donating to get a blanket? Are you donating for the right reasons? Right? It's almost saying it's like saying the same thing as well, the agnostic, right? Even the atheist, right? You know, help somebody out, and but the religious one that it's approaching it, and that's the reason, is because they don't want to go to hell. And it's like, so you're in fear and you're not doing it for the right reason, and like an altruistic reasoning, just because you can, you're the most capable teacher and you have the most to give at that moment because you realize you're only as strong as your weakest link, and so you're going to help everybody out. So, in all actuality, when you approach it with the religious aspects of whatever it may be, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. In the sense of what is altruistic, and there's points, because I can't condemn you for any of your actions of how you find unity, of how you understand your higher power, of how you add things, right? Because I don't deserve to steal your peace of mind, and I don't have the right to give mine away. No one deserves that, right? So until you let go absolutely and say, oh, there's value in this, okay, you're showing me what I don't want in my life to show me what I do want, right? You show me the part that I'm working on, spiritual approach, but it's just funny, because why are you doing it? From that simple standpoint, why are you doing it? It's because I want the blanket. It's like, are you serious? Or are you serious? You don't need more blankets because you already have 5 shelves full of blankets. You don't need the blanket. If I ever did donate, I've even done it before. I'm like, I don't care about the blanket. Keep it. That's not why I'm doing it. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Like, oh my goodness. OMG. Like, okay. Like, where are you raffle coffining off to in your head thinking how this is great? I needed instant reward for something of doing the right thing. And then there are those that it's like everyone gets a trophy. That was already a thing when you get a blanket and you donate things. That was already being developed like that, right? Just how any 12-step recovery program is a safe place, right? The whole modern day, oh, this is a safe place for who? For openly saying no one can go there? That's why. And that's another reason why I love to practice the principles in all my affairs. Because in all actuality, right, there's the history behind just to highlight how recovery is the original, essentially, house showcasing an absolute, the magnanimous means of a safe place, right? They know how to practice. That's absolutely what it is. You only have to have one desire. You only have to have one thing that's required of you to become a member. Now, there's other means of itself to take action and, aspects in that sense. Yet, to simply say, in the modern means of slang, street language and concepts of how someone, acts or reacts or whatever. Because there's a point where, are you acting in how society thinks? Then do you really think for yourself? Or are you just doing it because you were told that is the best way? It's not that it is. The winner of the war writes a narrative, always. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. They write the war. And they write history, right? Because it takes 2 generations to rewrite history. It takes 1 generation to rewrite history through language, basically, As that's why it is super always important to not shut the door in the past, or you're going to repeat yourself. And yet, there's, that's why we practice the principles. We're not here to perfect them. From all of the aspects of kind of how I laid it out, maybe you didn't comprehend, right? Because you're just starting off in recovery. Some can call it a journey, some can call it a destination, in a sense of saying you're the destination that you're really aiming for, right? And then through what is it, emotional aspects, it's about a peace of mind, right? It's not about being happy or sad, because both of those are fleeting, temporary, and have nothing to do other than helping you be ready. Because you're only getting prepared until you're doing it, and then you're ready. Absolutely. You truly, truly are. Like, I had to go feed my crabs. The good kind. I know, I get it. But, anywho, I'm not even sure where I left off. Because I just couldn't stop obsessing. But like, I gotta feed them. I gotta get it out of my head. And now I'm just talking about it. That's funny. That's funny. Yet, simply to say, how do you practice the principles in all your affairs? Do you really attempt to talk like a 12-step recovery program? Or do you talk like you? Are you the face of your own recovery? Or are you still attempting to learn how to find unity? I don't know. It's all up to you. Who do you want to be today? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Simply to say, yeah. Always, always, always. Remember to carry a message. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you what I have through my experience, strength, and hope. Right? Nothing more, nothing less. And where I'm at in my moment of my peace of mind. Because that's all I have. Nothing more and nothing less. Just what it is. Another way of calling the now moment. Another way of saying, strength. Another way of saying, a God moment. The power moment. Silence. Serenity. Non-judgmental state of whatever it may be. A higher power. Universal consciousness. Right? An aspect of everything. Anywho's. I love you. I do. I love you. And maybe, just maybe, you can love yourself too. But if you don't, that's cool. It's all whatever it may be. Simply to say, this is Pancake Marathon, where I carry my face in my recovery in the sense of I'm not even capable of sometimes being my face of recovery, because sometimes it's more of I'm a poop head and I can act like I can talk like an AA zealot because that's what I'm doing, right? Because you can't quit something if you're doing it. So that's why I'm always showing up to my life for that miracle, and simply to say, truly, truly, that of your shoes do fit just right, and it's all about that of simply to say, you do deserve to take up space. When will you allow yourself to be that beauty that you truly are? Just let go of that pain. Anywho's, hopefully I lined something up for somebody. I know I did. I got something out of it, right? It's about leaving it better than you found it, and not condemning things for not fitting into your box, because how did that work out for you? Anywho. Have a great one. Thank you, and I love you. Well, till next moments, this is, Pancake Marathon. To where, yep, okay, cool. Have a moment of clarity. Yeah. Love you. Bye. Anywho, till next time. Absolutely.